Hello,
Yeah, it's
Farisai. How
recording
are
now.
you today?
Hi, Morshed. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Not too bad, really. Not too bad. Thank you, thank you. Right, Farisai. Let me, my dear viewers, I'm going to introduce Farisai to you. Farisai, we have been friends. There's about 3 years now, and Farisai has got a very active life. She's involved with a lot of things. She keeps doing tirelessly a lot of things. So I'm not going to give you the list of that. Rather, let me ask Farisai. Farisai, would you introduce yourself, please?
Greetings, everyone. My name is Farisai Dzemwa. I live in Wolverhampton in the West Midlands, United Kingdom. I'm originally from Zimbabwe. As Morshed said, yeah, I'm a very active person. You could call me hyperactive even, um, because I'm involved in a lot of things. Mostly because I'm passionate about communities. I'm a mental health professional. I'm a mental health nurse. I'm a certified NLP practitioner. I'm a practitioner of timelines. Basically, I'm a life coach. And my passion really is mindset transformation. I think it's high time we started changing the narrative because the world has become so negative. And that's an area of passion with me. I also wear a hat. I'm a community health champion and I'm a community journalist. I'm also a mentor. And I'm a mother. I have one son who's grown up, actually 24. But I've also been called mother by so many in my community. So yeah, I'm basically out there.
Fascinating. Yes. So why do you think, I mean, these are the something we could see Farisai doing, but what would you say, what keeps you doing this? What are your inner power?
I think that my best drive, really, I would say, is my passion to give back. When I look back in my life, I've been through a lot. I've faced a lot of challenges, some of them traumatic, um, and yet I'm still here. And I attribute that to the help that I've received from people. And interestingly, it's been people from all walks of lives, from different countries. I feel like I have a very broad and extended family, um, not just from my mother and father, but I feel that all the people that I come across almost always end up being part of a family. Like you, Moshe, I feel like you're my brother now.
Exactly, I have noticed, and it is really great. And why do you think it is important to give it back to the society?
Well, at the moment, when I look around, there's so much negativity. We are now living in a very competitive world. Everything is competition. People backstabbing each other, people being jealousy of each other. And I feel that we need to understand that we all have a place and purpose and no one else is allocated anybody else's place and purpose. And this is why I'm passionate about mindset transformation. I feel if we change the way our minds work, we will be able to see why it's important to create a new narrative of unity and working together and being one family, I think we are better off happy than fighting. And this is what drives me really to, I have to be exemplary of what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way I can do that is by being involved in putting myself out there so that people can actually see. When I say let's love, they can see what I mean. I'm not just lip syncing it. I'm not just lip saying it. I'm actually actively demonstrating it.
Great, very inspiring. And I understand as a part of your activities, you're going to held an event to celebrate Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Um, would you say us anything about that?
Oh yeah. This is one of those traumas that I talked about that I've been through a lot in my life. I have been through domestic violence not once, not twice, 3 times. And as I said, each time I came out because I got help from society, from whatever community I found myself in at that point in time. A bit of background: I suffered sexual abuse at the hands of a close family relative, but how it spiraled into the rest of my life is that I was not allowed to talk about it. Um, I think common tradition is that it's better to keep quiet than to talk about domestic violence, to talk about sexual abuse, because it shames the family. And so it seems it's more important to hold a good name of a family overall than to protect an individual. So I was told things that basically shut me up, and I was not able to report it or even to talk about it with anybody. The first person I approached to tell what had happened to me told me that you should never talk about it. Go and wash yourself and just carry on with life. If you talk about it, people are going to know that you've been messed up, you're now dirty, and no one is going to want you. No man is going to want you. And as well, the person you're talking about is a well-known person, well-respected person. Who are you to think you can come and disrupt that? There were other cultural issues that were brought in, like I was raised by a single mom. And so I was told, you're just going to add onto the list of the shames that your mom holds by being a single mom when she could have been married by your dad's brother, which she refused to do. It's a cultural thing that we do in Zimbabwe. If a husband dies, his brother can take over the family. So you become like a wife to him. My mom wasn't interested in that. And so I was told you're just going to add a whole lot of other dirty laundry on her. Do you really want to put her through that? And because I watched my mom hold 3 jobs to give us the best, the last thing I wanted to do was to disrupt that and to do anything to hurt her. So that day I promised myself I was never going to speak about it, and I didn't for over 20 years. But then it then affected the way I saw everybody, the way I responded to situations. I just went globetrotting, working in one country to another, and I could never understand why I was doing it until 2017, when I ended up crashing my car into a wall, almost died, and the whole thing just played in my face, and I understood my strange behaviors along the way. So I know what domestic violence can do to an individual and what it can do to everything and everyone around that individual. So I'm passionate about people knowing this and knowing what to do if they know somebody's in that situation, or if they are in that situation. This is this has been what inspired me to hold that event. I've been holding a campaign throughout the month on domestic violence awareness using short videos, interviews of people who have suffered it, picture messages on all my social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. And so, October being Domestic Violence Awareness Month, I just thought it was the right time to do that event so that we end it with kind of a summary of what it is all about through individuals telling their stories. We're going to have 6 speakers on the day.
Thank you very much, Faris. And I'm so sorry that you had been through those terrible experiences. Um, and I will come back to that event again. But before that, can you tell me that where that incident happened geographically, in which area, which country that experience? I understand you are living in the UK at the moment, but that experience, terrible experience, why was that
Oh,
happening?
yeah. As I said, it wasn't once, but the first one that initiated this whole thing was back home in Zimbabwe. I was only 16, and I would say I was groomed actually a few years before I turned 16. This was a very crafty individual, knew that before 16 it would have been a very obvious criminal offense. So he took his time to make me feel special, gave me pet names, presents, was always praising me around people, you know. And then when I turned 16, he then said, it's payback time.
Mm.
And because I was naive, I thought, I felt a little bit like I really did owe him. But I realize now that I didn't. So yeah, it happened in Zimbabwe, and but the way it affected my mind, I was bitter and angry. I then went into a series of very toxic relationships. It's almost like I was picking the most toxic people out there to
Uh-huh.
date, and I don't know, I kind of felt like maybe I deserved to be with those kinds of people because I now believe that I was dirty, I was filth, I wasn't worth being with anybody good. So that just meant I had a few more experiences of similar, and that is another thing that really drives me to where we are today doing this event.
Um, so the point I was trying to make is like that happened back in Zimbabwe, and you are living in the UK at the
Mm,
moment, and I'm pretty much sure that I know
mm.
personally, since I know you personally, I know that you're involved with a lot of group, a lot of people, in individuals. So, do you think things are things are a little different in this country in terms of that sexual abuse and other issues?
Sadly, there are some differences, but I guess it's just differences in how people respond to domestic violence. But unfortunately, domestic violence seems to be happening everywhere.
Everywhere,
Third world,
yes.
first world countries, we are all developing, and yet this thing is still happening. It does happen in the United Kingdom. When I left home, I thought I was getting away from it. In a way, I did get away from the perpetrator breathing down my throat all the time. But when I got here and I had to seek help at some point because I was really struggling. I was moving from job to job, town to town. unable to settle down because of the demons that I was carrying. And I thought if I moved, then I would leave it where I was. But because it was an internal issue, I found I was moving around with it. So in the end, I had to seek help. And that's when I realized that it actually happens here quite a lot as well. Fortunately, there are services that are actually put out there visibly in writing, on social media, everywhere, where you can seek help. Whereas back home, it's not really like that. It's something that's almost always hush hush. It's
Mm-hmm.
still hush hush here. But if you're an individual who's proactively loving themselves, you actually can find somewhere to present yourself for help or to look for help. So yeah, it is sad, but it's happening everywhere.
So it doesn't matter. Well, I am original from Asia. The area I am from, it is happening in that area as well. So it is not only like poorer countries. It is
Mm,
happening in the Western countries as well, developed countries as well. And other question is like
mm,
today, 2020, and we claim
yeah.
that we are at the peak of the civilization, and still this is happening.
Mm.
Why is that?
Um, I think we still come back to mindsets. Uh, we as human beings, I think we naturally gravitate to numbers, and the more people believe in something, the more other people gravitate to that. And when we look at history in all countries, nobody um, openly encourages people to talk about domestic violence. It's a shame in almost every country, in almost every level of civilization. And the reason why that's happening is because we have not nurtured in ourselves a mindset that questions things, a mindset that questions self, and then questions everything around you and everyone around you. We kind of just followers. And so as long as nobody is questioning this silence about domestic violence, it will carry on. Everything else will develop, but it will continue to happen until we start, like I'm doing, questioning things, addressing things, challenging things. And it always starts with you. If you haven't suffered it, I'll say to you, ask yourself, why am I seeing this happening and keeping quiet? And if you want to be motivated to speak, maybe ask yourself, if it was to happen to me, would I not want somebody to help me? Or if it was to happen to my child, would I keep quiet? Those are the kinds of questions that we need to be asking rather than thinking, oh, if I talk, who else is going to be ashamed?
Yeah,
Being a victim is nothing to be ashamed of because you don't choose to be a victim. Somebody actually preys on you, and that person is the one who should be ashamed.
sure, sure. Yes. So I think it is yet to change our mindset and other backgrounds, and that's why October is the month to talk about the domestic violence awareness, to create the awarenesses. Still, this is
Yes,
necessary, I think, as you said. So now
it is.
let's get back to your event. What are you doing? What is going to happen in this event? In that event?
Okay. My idea was that we're going to present an event from a different angle. A lot of people have been doing events year in, year out, and mostly the approach is the same. We talk about statistics, we talk about research, we talk about records that are in institutions that deal with domestic violence. But my belief is there is a certain area that's left out, and that's lived life experiences. And that involves somebody telling their own story, their own experience, the way they saw it, they felt it, and how they dealt with it. Because I'm of the belief there's a very big number of unreported cases. If you take me, for instance, I lived with it for over 20, I would say over 24 years at least. And my life was a mess for that 24 years. And I know that some of my behavior negatively affected people that I came across, be it at home, social events, work, educational institutions, because I've done a lot of training and I've worked in many places. Because my behavior was erratic when I wasn't settled, it just meant that a lot of people were affected as well negatively. So if you can put that number of people who have not spoken, who have not dealt with their situation, can you imagine how many people they are affecting negatively, like I've just said? And if we don't question that, we are actually going to raise even a new generation of damaged people who are being damaged by us, even though we love them. So yeah, I'm hoping that by people sharing their own lived life stories, we are going to start asking different questions to ourselves and to society. And we are going to start responding to situations as individuals differently and as society as well differently. And that is where change will start to happen. As long as we respond the same and keep asking the same questions and keep referring to the same records of researches done years ago, nothing will change.
I believe so. Yes. Yeah. So when is this happening, and how is this happening?
It's gonna be on the 31st of October, and it's
Mm-hmm.
gonna be at 5 p.m. UK time, GMT time, and it's going to be virtual. Unfortunately, coronavirus
Yeah.
has prevented us meeting in one common place, which in a way is a negative, but I think in a bigger way in terms of this event is a positive, because we are using Zoom as the platform, and Zoom is accessible globally.
It is.
People just need to calculate what time it's going to be in their country. And I have been advertising this on all social media. Today, I'm going to be sharing the link that we're going to use on that day, so
Mm-hmm.
everybody can join in. We have 6 speakers. One is from America, one is from Switzerland, and the other 4 are from the United Kingdom. But when we finish sharing our stories, we're going to have an open mic, open floor, so to speak, where people can pass comments. Those that want to share maybe a bit of their own experiences to expand the awareness, will have also a few minutes to do that, and we can have an open discussion. And it's not going to end there. I have just registered a community interest company that's going to be doing things like coaching, mentoring, workshops, awareness workshops, and collaborating with the other 5 who are also doing similar, who have also got similar organizations, charities that are passionate about what I'm passionate about, changing the narrative. And
Mm-hmm.
so, yeah, I'm inviting anybody and everybody, victims, survivors, family, friends, even perpetrators themselves. I learned lately that some of them do this because they have issues that they haven't dealt with as well. And I'm hoping that just listening, hearing how this kind of behavior affects even the people they love will help them to start questioning themselves just as we question ourselves. And I'm glad as well we're going to have a gentleman sharing his own experience. A lot of people believe domestic violence only happens to women, but it doesn't. And a lot of those that know that domestic violence happened to men tend to think that that man is weak, but that's not, that's not fact. This gentleman, I call him JD. He's got a long French name, Jean-Louis Delhomme, but I call him JD, and he asks everybody to call him JD. He's not a weak guy. He's a big guy. He's a fitness instructor, and he is ex-military. He will share his story of domestic violence and why he went through it. And I'm hoping that all men will start to even look at male domestic violence from a different angle.
Thank you very much, Farisai. And I would like to repeat this again. This is on the 31st, if I'm not wrong, Farisai. Please
Yeah,
correct me if
yeah.
I'm wrong. This is going to happen on 31st of October at 5
Mm-hmm.
p.m. UK time.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this will be over Zoom. And do
Yes.
you do the whoever wants to participate? Do they need to register?
No, we're just sharing the link. All they need to do is tell up 5 o'clock, use the link, and join in. Really, they can either show their faces with video.
Mm-hmm.
This is the thing about Zoom. You can listen in the background if you don't want people to see your face, but you can also show your face if you want to, and just take part basically. And I'm asking people to come with open minds. Open your minds. Leave whatever views you have about domestic violence behind and prepare to be transformed in the way you see domestic violence. And I'm actually going to say that if you're in the middle of it, I can assure you there's a way out. And I wish the whole world could feel the kind of happiness that I feel now that I was able to come out of it. Once you have that feeling, I'm quite sure you want the whole world to feel the same way. And I'm hoping this is one of the things that we will inspire in every individual at the end of the event.
Great. Thank you very much, Farisai. I believe this, of course, this is not going to change the whole world over a day or over a night, but definitely it is going to have an impact on the society. And the people who are affected or are going through this
Yeah,
process, these experiences, definitely they should get something by sharing everyone's experiences. Thank you for your time, Farisai. Before you go,
definitely.
do you have anything to say? Anything else which I haven't asked or you want to say?
I just want to leave a message to the world out there. Self love is the beginning of any positive journey you can ever think of. My experience was when I hated myself, when I thought I was ugly and unwanted, I could never see anything positive out there. And when I stepped over to the other side and realized the beauty in me, both inside and outside, all I see is beautiful possibilities. And so I'm asking the world out there, if something, it doesn't always have to be about domestic violence. If something is making you feel ugly inside, address it. If you can address it yourself, address it. If you can't by yourself, seek the help. Trust me, there's help with every challenge. As I said when we started, I've been through a lot. I could go on the whole day. And each time I managed to find help. And the reason why I managed to find help is I loved myself enough to think it's worth it to rise above that kind of negative or trauma or whatever I was experiencing at that time. And that's what I wish the whole world, men, women, children, together.
Great, great. Yes. All the best with your event, Farisai. And last question is that are you going to record that event? So if somebody missed that one, they can come back and watch on their own time?
Oh,
Okay.
definitely. I have like I said, I am running a community interest company called the Community Integration Hub, and we have a Facebook page and an Instagram account. I'm gonna be sharing that video, and so I would say those people that don't want their faces to be seen, they could just switch off the video bit and listen in and speak. Without the video, you can still take part by talking. And there's also a comment section, so you can type in your contribution if you don't want to speak out. But if you want to do the whole works, then you're more than welcome.
Mm, that's great. That's great. Thank you very much for your time, Farisai. It was lovely chatting you. Um, yes, that's it really for now. Thank you.
Thank you for taking your time to.
No, it was a pleasure. It was a pleasure.
Oh,
I'm so sorry
thank
that
you very much. Take care.
uh, I'm so sorry that you had all these experiences. I am really sorry about that. And since you have some sensitive personal information, do you think it should be okay to use your real name if I want to make a story on you based on this interview, um, a video interview or the written interview? Should that be
Yeah,
okay to you?
I'm definitely, I'm campaigning. I'm one of those people who is on the other side now. So I actually want people to see me, to hear me, so that they can know that when somebody says you can get over it, you can survive and excel, they have a face that they can actually say there's evidence. So yeah, use my name.
Farisai, I don't know how to say that. Great salute for you, and a digital hug.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very
Thank
much,
you,
Morshed. Thanks for
thank
your
you,
time.
thank you. For,